You tell someone something personal, something you thought was safe in their heart, but a week later, you hear your own words being discussed in circles you never entered. The pain, the embarrassment, the regret, you wish you could take your words back, but it's too late. My brothers and sisters, do you know that some of the biggest heartbreaks, ruined friendships, broken trusts, and failed plans in life began with just one sentence shared with the wrong person? Today, I want to share something that could save you from years of regret. There are 9 types of secrets, 9 personal treasures that Islam teaches us to protect and never expose to just anyone. And if you stay till the end, you won't just learn what these secrets are. You'll understand why keeping them hidden protects your peace, your plans, your dignity, and your relationship with Allah. This is not just advice. This is survival in a world where people listen with their ears but act with their tongues. Let's begin. Privacy in Islam is not just a preference or personality trait. It is a shield, a form of protection that safeguards your dignity, your heart, your relationships, and your future. When a person learns to keep certain matters concealed, they protect themselves not only from people's judgment but also from envy, interference, and exploitation. Many of the wounds people carry in their hearts did not come from enemies. They came from sharing with the wrong friends, relatives, or acquaintances who later used that information knowingly or unknowingly to hurt them. Islam teaches us that concealing personal matters is an act of wisdom, and disclosing everything is a doorway to unnecessary harm. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Seek help in fulfilling your needs by keeping them secret. For everyone who is blessed is envied." This tells us that silence at the right time is not weakness but strategy. When you guard your privacy, you guard your blessings. A person who speaks less about their plans, their struggles, their family issues, and their inner life is not being mysterious or antisocial. They are preserving peace. Every piece of information you give someone becomes a tool in their hand. If that person is sincere, they will hold it carefully. But if that person changes with time or turns against you, the same information becomes a weapon. Today someone is your friend, tomorrow perhaps not. People change, hearts flip, circumstances shift, but what you have spoken cannot be taken back. That is why silence protects your future from the unpredictability of people. Privacy is like placing your valuables in a safe. You choose carefully who has access. Imagine leaving your home unlocked and then blaming the thief. In the same way, sharing your secrets widely and then regretting it later is a sign that boundaries were not respected. Privacy is not about hiding sins or living dishonestly. It is about choosing the right time, the right person, and the right reason for disclosure. Islam encourages consultation and speaking when it is beneficial, but it also warns against unnecessary exposure of private matters that do not concern others. When you discuss your marriage issues with everyone, you create room for confusion, gossip, and interference. When you talk openly about your financial problems, someone might use that knowledge to take advantage of you. When you share your health concerns with random people, you invite unnecessary comments and sympathy that does not come with sincerity. Privacy stops others from misusing your vulnerability. One of the most powerful forms of protection that privacy offers is protection from envy. Envy, even from well-wishers, is real. The Quran teaches us to seek refuge from the envier when he envies. You might happily speak about a new opportunity, idea, relationship, or blessing, not realizing that the listener's heart may not be as happy for you. Not every smile is genuine. Not every mashallah is free of jealousy. When something is still growing, still delicate, still in its beginning stages, sharing it widely exposes it to eyes and hearts that may harm it spiritually without even touching it physically. The evil eye is real. Sometimes what we lose is not because it was not written for us, but because we made it visible to those who could not stand it. Privacy acts like a shield that keeps your blessings wrapped in safety until they become strong enough to be seen. Privacy also protects your mental peace. The less people know, the less they comment, the less they interfere, and the less they expect. Many people suffer stress not because life is heavy, but because too many people are involved in their life. Every shared detail becomes a topic of discussion in other gatherings. Every admission becomes a question people feel entitled to ask about. When you keep your private matters within your family or within the circle of trust, you control the narrative of your own life. You no longer live explaining, defending, or clarifying what others think they know about you. On a spiritual level, privacy strengthens your relationship with Allah. Some matters are meant only for Him. Your doors, your fears, your pain, your repentance. These are conversations that earn their power through secrecy. When you rush to tell people everything, you shift reliance from the Creator to the creation. Keeping some matters between you and Allah builds sincerity. You pour your heart to the one who can actually solve your problems, rather than scattering your emotions before those who can only listen but cannot change anything. Privacy also protects your reputation. A person who speaks about every mistake, every doubt, every emotion, every problem loses their aura. Not because people are better, but because people judge quickly and forget the context. By keeping your struggles private, you maintain dignity. You show strength without needing to expose the storms inside you. People respect silence more than they respect oversharing. In the end, privacy is not isolation. It is control. It is not secrecy out of fear, but silence out of wisdom. It is understanding that your life is a trust, and not every soul is worthy of holding its details. When you protect your privacy, you protect your peace, your plans, your relationships, your faith, and your honor. Not every truth needs to be spoken, and not every feeling or fact deserves an audience. In the world we live in, people often mistake openness for honesty and silence for secrecy. But Islam teaches a deeper wisdom. A truthful person is not someone who exposes every detail of their life, but someone who knows when to speak and when to remain silent. Many hardships begin not with lies, but with the unnecessary sharing of truths that were better kept private. When a person reveals everything they feel, think, or plan, they give others access to their inner world. And once that access is given, you cannot control how those words are interpreted, repeated, twisted, or used later. Not everyone who listens understands. Not everyone who hears protects. What may be a casual confession to you might be something another person holds on to and discusses elsewhere. When you share a personal truth with someone, you are trusting their heart, their loyalty, and their silence. But people are not all the same. Some are sincere, some forgetful, some careless, and some simply curious. You may tell someone your plans only to find them advising against it, not because they care, but because they fear you will get ahead. You may share your struggles and later have your own words thrown back at you in judgment. Speaking the truth is virtuous, but exposing details without purpose is not virtue. It is vulnerability without protection. Truth has a time, a place, and an intention. When you speak without considering these three, you risk causing harm to yourself or others. For instance, you may share your goals and ambitions openly, believing that it will motivate or inspire others. But what happens when someone who hears it becomes envious or competitive? Suddenly, what was pure becomes a source of sabotage. Similarly, you might openly discuss your sadness or frustration, expecting empathy, but instead of comfort, you receive gossip disguised as concern. Words once spoken cannot return to the heart they came from. They travel, they grow. They change in meaning depending on who carries them. Sometimes a person shares something true about their past, thinking it will free them, only to realize that people begin to see them through the lens of that truth rather than who they have become. In friendships and families, many relationships are damaged not because someone lied, but because they spoke too much truth to the wrong person. You might reveal your financial situation, believing it to be an honest moment, and later find others using it to measure your worth or make assumptions about your capabilities. You might speak openly about conflicts in your home, only to create distance and disrespect between relatives that could have been avoided. Islam encourages wisdom in speech. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak what is good or remain silent." This hadith does not only apply to lies or hurtful words, but also to truths that bring no benefit when spoken. Silence is not hiding, silence is strength. Silence gives you control over your thoughts. It allows emotions to settle before they turn into words you regret. Many marriages could have been saved if private truths were not shared with outsiders. Many friendships could have lasted longer if every misunderstanding was not narrated to others. Also, the more you speak, the more you give people the ability to interpret you incorrectly. A single sentence said without full context can lead to years of misunderstanding. When you tell someone your opinion about another person, even if it is honest, that truth might later become a source of conflict. When you share your fears, some will comfort you while others will use them against you. When you talk about your progress, some will celebrate you while others secretly resent you. Truth does not always protect you. Sometimes it exposes you. Wisdom is not in hiding reality but in knowing the audience. Some individuals earn the right to hear your truth through loyalty, character, and sincerity. Others must remain at a distance. When you speak every truth without reflection, you distribute pieces of yourself to people who may not guard them. And when situations change and those people are no longer close to you, the truths you shared remain with them as memories, stories, judgments, or weapons. A person who learns to hold certain truths within protects their peace. They speak to Allah before speaking to people. They reflect before confessing. They wait before announcing their plans. They control their tongue before their tongue controls their destiny. Speaking less does not mean you are hiding. It means you are filtering what deserves to be said. The less you reveal, the fewer explanations you owe. The less you expose, the fewer attacks can reach you. Not everything your heart knows needs to be spoken by your tongue. Some truths, when preserved, become your strength. When spoken prematurely or unnecessarily, they become your weakness. Personal struggles are among the most sensitive parts of a person's life, and Islam teaches that these matters are meant to be taken to Allah first before anyone else. When a person rushes to share their pain, sins, weaknesses, or emotional wounds with people who neither understand nor can truly help, they often end up feeling more exposed and less supported. The heart is delicate, and not every listener has the purity or maturity to handle what lies within it. Some people listen to respond, some listen to speak about it later, and only a very few listen with the intention to help sincerely. This is why Islam encourages believers to direct their struggles to the one who hears without judgment, keeps secrets without fail, and heals without reminding. The mistakes, regrets, and sins a person carries are not trophies to be displayed nor stories to be shared casually. When someone sins and repents, Allah covers that sin with His mercy. If the person then reveals it to others, they tear the covering placed by their Creator. The Prophet Muhammad said, "All of my ummah are forgiven except those who expose their sins." This means that even if a person has done wrong, Allah may forgive them and conceal their mistake, but sharing it openly removes that protection. Many people think that speaking about their past will make them appear honest, but in reality, exposing those private matters can lead to judgment, gossip, and loss of respect. Even struggles that are not sins, such as emotional pain, financial pressure, or family tensions, do not always need to be shared with people. When someone discusses their problems with the wrong person, that individual may show sympathy at first, but they might use that information later. What begins as a moment of vulnerability can turn into a permanent weakness in the eyes of others. Some may silently look down on you. Others may share your story when the relationship changes, and a few might even use it to manipulate you. Not every ear deserves access to your hidden burdens. Taking your struggles to Allah builds strength inside you. When you raise your hands in dua, when you cry in sujud, when you speak your fears only to the one who controls all affairs, you train your heart to rely on the highest source of comfort and change. People can only listen. Allah can transform your condition. There is no fear of betrayal when you confide in Him. There is no risk of exposure when you show your weakness to your Lord. The more a believer learns to keep their struggles between themselves and Allah, the more peace they experience internally. Some matters are meant only for trusted individuals like parents, a spouse, or a wise advisor, not for everyone. Even then, sharing should have a purpose, a guidance, advice, or support. But sharing simply to speak, to complain, or to feel temporarily lighter often leads to deeper regrets. Complaining excessively to people also weakens gratitude. It makes a person focus more on pain than on solutions. When Yusuf faced betrayal by his brothers, abandonment, slavery, and prison, he did not announce his pain to every person he met. His heart remained connected to Allah, and his story reflects the power of silent patience. Another danger of sharing struggles with people is that it opens the door to unnecessary interference. Some will pretend to offer help only to satisfy their curiosity. Others will give harmful advice. Some will encourage negativity. When too many people know about your personal tests, you lose control over the narrative and they feel entitled to comment on your life. What could have been a private battle between you and Allah becomes a public topic of judgment. Weaknesses, when exposed, change how people see you. You may move past your pain, but people might always remember you by that struggle. You may overcome your financial difficulty, but they might still consider you incapable. You might heal from emotional trauma, but they may continue to see you as broken because you told them about it. When you keep these matters between you and Allah, you allow yourself to heal privately and rise without being confined to your past. There is also spiritual beauty in concealing your pain. When you smile despite hardship, when you remain composed despite trials, when people cannot tell what battles you are fighting, you earn dignity in the eyes of others and reward in the sight of Allah. The less you expose your inner wounds, the more Allah covers you with His mercy. Sharing feelings with Allah is not a last resort. It is the first step. Before messaging a friend, before opening your heart to someone who may not guard it, turn to the one who already knows what you are carrying. Your secrets are safest with Him. Your tears are most valued in His presence. Your struggles, when placed before Him, become a means of elevation rather than humiliation. Keeping personal struggles private is not about suppression. It is about protection. It is about understanding that your heart is too precious to be placed in careless hands. It is about knowing that the one who gave you the test is the one who holds the key to its relief. When you give your pain to Him first, He guides you to the right solutions and the right people at the right time with the right outcome. Dreams, plans and blessings are among the most delicate gifts a person can hold, and sharing them too early can destroy what was meant to grow quietly. In Islam, there is deep wisdom in keeping intentions, aspirations and opportunities hidden until they become reality. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Seek help in fulfilling your needs through secrecy. For everyone who is blessed is envied." This hadith is not only about envy, it is about protection. When something is still forming, still in the unseen stage, still vulnerable, it must be shielded from eyes, opinions, doubts and jealous hearts. A seed must stay underground before it appears above soil. If someone digs it up too soon, it dies before ever becoming a tree. Many people lose their blessings not because they were not written for them, but because they shared them prematurely. A person starts a new business idea and announces it before it is ready, only to receive discouragement from those who lack vision or to face silent jealousy from those who fear their success. Another begins planning a marriage, new job, visa process, or major life move and reveals it to relatives and friends who smile in front but speak negatively behind their back. Some do not actively sabotage, but their envy, pessimism or doubts drain the energy and barakah meant to accompany that dream. Silent progress is powerful. When you quietly work on something, you allow Allah's help to reach you without interference. You protect your intention from corruption. Not everyone has to know your plans. Not everyone deserves to hear your aspirations. You are not hiding out of fear. You are guarding something sacred. The earlier a plan is exposed, the more fragile it becomes. Even one negative comment from someone can plant hesitation in your heart, weaken your motivation, or create unnecessary confusion. Blessings are also more likely to stay when handled with discretion. When Allah gives you a new opportunity, wealth, achievement, spouse, child, or home, you are not required to broadcast it to the world. Social media, public conversations, reckless sharing, these all invite eyes that may not wish well. The devil uses envy as a tool. A person may not physically harm you, but one glance of jealousy can shake what you built. The Quran itself teaches us to seek refuge from the harm of the envier when he envies. Sometimes a person does not even know the harm they are causing. One careless compliment, one insincere congratulation, one jealous look can affect the blessing. There is also wisdom in silence because people are unpredictable. You may trust someone today and regret it tomorrow. Relationships change, hearts flip, circumstances alter, and the words you spoke remain out there, unable to return. If you told someone about a plan and later fall out with them, they carry your information with them. If they are good, they will keep it. If they are not, they may mock you, expose you, or hope for your failure. But if you keep your plans locked in your heart until they are firm, no one can use them against you. Some people announce their goals hoping for encouragement, but instead they receive criticism that kills their enthusiasm. Others share their dreams only to hear someone else take the same idea and run with it. Sometimes your silence is the only protection your plans have. Even family members can unintentionally harm a blessing by speaking of it prematurely, attracting envy or skepticism from others. There is a reason why Jacob told his son Yusuf not to share his dream with his brothers. Not every heart can handle what your heart carries. Silence also keeps you spiritually grounded. When you speak too much about what you will do, you feed your ego instead of your effort. Talking replaces action, and the more you speak, the less drive you feel to work. Quiet intentions turn into quiet effort, and quiet effort turns into loud results. When the result finally appears, it speaks for itself. At that point, sharing becomes a form of gratitude rather than exposure. There is also protection in letting blessings unfold naturally. When something reaches completion, stability, or maturity, it becomes harder to shake. A job offer that is signed, a proposal that is finalized, a business that is operating, a visa that is issued, these are no longer seeds but fruits. At that point, mentioning them is less risky because Allah has already written them into your life. Dreams belong first in dua, then in effort, then in the unseen protection of Allah. When you tell Allah about your plans, He strengthens them. When you tell people before their time, you weaken them. When you wait, you allow barakah to grow. Silence is not secrecy out of fear. It is preservation out of wisdom. Real strength is not in declaring your vision, but in building it silently until the world sees it completed without knowing how it grew. Trust is one of the greatest gifts Allah places between hearts. And in Islam, it is treated as an amana, a sacred deposit. When someone shares a secret with you, they are not merely giving you words. They are handing you a part of their vulnerability, their dignity, and their faith in your character. Breaking that trust by exposing their secret is not a small mistake. It is a betrayal that can damage relationships permanently and remove barakah from your life. The Prophet Muhammad said, when a man tells you something and then looks around, it is a trust. Even if the person did not explicitly say, don't tell anyone, the nature of the moment determines the responsibility. Islam teaches us that a believer does not violate the privacy of another, even if that person later wrongs them. A secret is not a tool to reward loyalty or punish disloyalty. Once entrusted, it remains a responsibility until death. When people feel safe confiding in you, it is a sign that Allah has placed respect for you in their hearts. But the moment you misuse their words, they may forgive you, yet their heart will never open to you in the same way again. Trust, unlike objects once broken, cannot return to its original form. A friendship may continue, a relationship may appear normal externally, but the depth of connection weakens silently. People might smile with you, but they will not speak with the same openness. And when Allah sees that you have exposed something someone trusted you with, He can remove the gift of trusted companionship from your life. There are people who justify sharing others' secrets by calling it harmless conversation or casual storytelling. But harm is not only measured by intention, it is also measured by impact. What you consider small may be everything to the one it belongs to. A story about someone's family issue, financial hardship, past mistake, or private struggle might seem insignificant to you, but it can be deeply humiliating or damaging for them. Gossip, gaiba, and tale, kariye, namma are serious sins not because they always contain lies, but because they expose what people wish to keep unseen. Even if the information is true, sharing it without permission erodes your own integrity. If you speak about others' secrets easily, people recognize that you will do the same with their secrets when the time comes. Silence is not only protection for others, it is also protection for your own honor. When you guard someone's secret sincerely, Allah assigns angels to guard your dignity in places where you are absent. When you cover others, Allah covers you, both in this world and on the day of judgment. Relationships flourish when trust is guarded. Marriages become stronger when private concerns are not exposed to outsiders. Friendships deepen when personal confessions are not turned into entertainment. Families stay united when disagreements remain within the household. When someone shares something with you in confidence, they are not asking you to fix their life. They are seeking refuge in your silence. Speaking about it to others does not make you wise, it makes you unreliable. And an unreliable person may have many acquaintances but no true companions. Another important aspect is respecting secrets that are not spoken directly to you but are discovered unintentionally. If you overhear a conversation, read something by accident, or learn something private indirectly, you are still responsible before Allah to conceal it. A believer is not someone who hunts for people's flaws or exposes what Allah has hidden. The Prophet warned that whoever seeks to expose the faults of others, Allah will expose their own faults even if they are inside their homes. There is a divine justice in how we treat the secrets of others. What we do to them returns to us in some form. In some cases, you may be entrusted with information about someone's personal plan, a difficulty they are facing, or an achievement they have not yet made public. Sharing it casually may invite jealousy, judgment, or complications they are not prepared to face. You might think you are praising them or discussing something innocent, but once words leave your tongue, they can spread in directions you never intended. Your role as a guardian of their trust is to remain firm even when others try to extract information through curiosity or manipulation. The seriousness of betraying a secret is not only emotional but spiritual. A person who breaks trust loses a form of divine support. Barakah leaves their speech. People begin to distance themselves. Hearts feel unease around them. There is a reason why the Prophet said that breaking a trust is a sign of hypocrisy. It is a behavior that disconnects a person from the quality of true faith. On the other hand, there is honor in silence. When someone confides in you and you hold that secret as if it were your own, Allah elevates your status. People feel safe around you. Your presence becomes a refuge, not a risk. Even if you are remembered for nothing else, being remembered as trustworthy is enough to earn love in this life and reward in the next. Silence does not only protect others, it builds your character. Trust is heavy, but those who carry it with sincerity are loved by Allah and respected by His creation. Dignity is not only in how you dress, speak, or carry yourself. It is deeply connected to what you choose to keep within and what you allow the world to see. A person who overshares about their life, emotions, fears, relationships, achievements, failures, and private experiences slowly loses the aura of respect that comes with discretion. Islam teaches that modesty is not limited to clothing. It extends to speech, action, and self-disclosure. The more a person reveals about their personal affairs, the more others feel entitled to judge, discuss, or interfere in their life. What you expose becomes public property. What you conceal remains your strength. When you hold your inner world with dignity, people treat you with dignity. They do not feel they can speak about you carelessly because you do not hand them the material to do so. But when you constantly express your emotions, unveil your weaknesses, share your personal conflicts, or speak openly about your plans, you unintentionally lower the barrier that protects your honor. People start forming opinions based on incomplete stories. They may use your words in moments of anger, mockery, or gossip. They might act supportive in front of you, but behind closed doors, your private matters become discussions that entertain others. This is why the righteous before us guarded their inner selves like a treasure. Their strength did not come from showing the world everything. It came from knowing that not every thought deserves to be spoken. Not every pain needs to be announced, and not every blessing should be displayed. You may think that sharing your struggles makes you relatable, but often it makes you vulnerable to the wrong hearts. You may assume talking about your blessings inspires others, but sometimes it fuels jealousy and comparison. Silence protects the soul in ways words never can. Another harm of excessive sharing is that it invites unnecessary advice. When you reveal a problem, people feel entitled to comment on it. Their opinions, driven by limited understanding, can complicate matters rather than solve them. By keeping things private, you maintain control over your narrative. You think clear when the noise of others is not shaping your decisions. You also preserve the beauty of your reliance on Allah. There is a special honor in whispering your needs to Him rather than shouting them into the world. Moreover, exposing your personal life often leads to regret. A private mistake once spoken becomes a permanent part of how others remember you, even if you have repented and moved on. A temporary heartbreak becomes gossip material. A moment of weakness becomes a defining trait in the minds of those who heard it. You may forgive yourself and grow, but people tend to freeze you in the version they saw or heard about. Concealment allows you the dignity to evolve without being chained to past moments. There is also spiritual harm in revealing too much. Your relationship with Allah is deeply personal, and certain acts of worship lose sincerity when they are spoken about unnecessarily. The sweetness of a late-night prayer, a heartfelt dua, a quiet charity, or a private repentance is lost when turned into conversation for validation or admiration. The Prophet taught that hidden deeds are the most beloved to Allah. When you keep your good deeds private, Allah rewards you openly. But when you publicize them without need, the intention becomes blurry and the reward may be reduced. Similarly, when you speak too much about your hardships, You risk turning patience into complaint. Patience does not mean silence in all cases, but it means choosing wisely whom you speak to and why. When you talk to people more than you talk to Allah, your heart begins to seek sympathy from the creation rather than mercy from the Creator. The more you externalize your pain, the more dependent you become on reactions, and the less you develop inner resilience. True strength grows in silence, in the quiet moments where only Allah knows your wounds. Your dignity is reflected in how much of yourself you reserve. Islam teaches balance. You do not isolate from people, but you do not hand them the keys to your inner world. You speak when necessary, you seek advice when appropriate, and you share only what serves a purpose. You do not reveal what could later shame you, weaken you, or be used against you. Even in marriage, close friendship, or family, boundaries are part of honor. Love does not erase wisdom. When a person carries themselves with quiet confidence, speaks little about their private affairs, and maintains composure in hardship, people naturally respect them. They are viewed as strong, mature, and grounded. But someone who constantly vents, complains, announces every plan, and displays every emotion is often seen as unstable and easy to read. Even those who appear to care may lose respect subconsciously. Concealment is not dishonesty, it is self-respect. It is understanding that your life is not for public consumption. It is recognizing that hearts change, tongues slip, and trust is fragile. You honor yourself when you protect your unseen world. What remains unsaid remains untouched. What is guarded remains honored. And what you keep between yourself and Allah becomes a source of elevation in both worlds.